The well behind Grandma's house. You ever have a place from your childhood that feels different when you think back on it? Like something inside you knew it wasn't right, even then? For me, that place was my grandma's backyard. Sweet old woman, always smelled like cinnamon and Pond's cold cream. She made the best apple pies in the county, won ribbons for them even. But behind her house, past the patch of milkweed and the broken swing set, was a well, an old, stone-rimmed thing that my grandpa had boarded up before I was born. He used to say, "Don't go near it. There's things that don't belong in sunlight down there." And he'd smile when he said it, but not the kind of smile that reaches your eyes. I was 8 the first time I heard something moving down there. Soft, wet, like breathing. And that's where it all started. It was the summer of '96, the year of the cicadas. The air was thick and humming, like the whole world was vibrating with secrets. Grandma's house sat on a stretch of land that seemed to sag beneath the weight of years. Paint peeling from the porch posts, wind chimes made of spoons and old keys tinkling in the hot breeze. I spent most of my days barefoot, exploring, the kind of freedom kids don't really get anymore. But I always came back to that spot, where the grass grew longer and darker, where the air seemed cooler even at noon. The well. Sometimes I thought I saw something down there. Not a shadow exactly, but a shimmer like the air above asphalt on a hot day. Grandma caught me staring once. Her voice went sharp, cutting through the heavy afternoon. "Don't go near it, Eli." And when I turned, her face wasn't soft and warm anymore. It was pale, almost afraid. That's how I knew something was down there, something waiting. I stumbled backward, my heel catching on a root, fell hard enough to knock the wind out of me. When I looked up again, the fingers were gone. Only the echo of that slow, wet, dragging sound, like something retreating into the dark. I ran to the house. Grandma was sitting at the kitchen table, a mug of tea shaking in her hands. The clock ticked too loudly. Rain had started to fall outside, soft at first, then harder, a steady drumming that made the world feel smaller. "Grandma," I panted, "there's something in that well." She didn't look at me, just stared at the window like she could see through the storm. "I told you to leave it be," she murmured. "It remembers when you look at it." That didn't make sense. None of it did. But her eyes were glossy with tears, real ones. "I sealed it after your grandpa passed," she whispered. "But the boards don't hold forever. Every few years it starts calling again." Calling again. That phrase stuck in my head all day. That night, the power went out. The house turned black except for the flash of lightning through the windows. I could hear the wind howling, trees groaning, and underneath it, so faint I almost thought I dreamed it, came a sound from the yard. My name, long, drawn out, "Eli." I crept to the window, my flashlight trembling in my hand. The rain had eased, and in the pale flash of lightning, I saw the boards over the well gone, torn aside like matchsticks. The next flash showed footprints, wet ones, leading toward the house. I stumbled back, tripped over a chair, hit the floor. My breath came fast, shallow. The front door latch clicked, slow and deliberate. Then, silence. Grandma's voice came from the hallway, hoarse and small. "Don't open it, Eli, no matter what it sounds like." But then I heard her again, from outside, pounding on the door. "Eli, let me in, it's cold." 2 voices, both hers. My skin went ice cold. I didn't know which one to believe. And that's when I realized whatever was in that well didn't just want out. It wanted me. The silence didn't feel like peace. It felt like the moment before something terrible exhales. Then the boards above us groaned. Heavy, dragging footsteps moved across the porch, each one slower than the last. Grandma held the cross so tight her knuckles went white. "Don't look, Eli," she whispered. But I couldn't help it. Curiosity's a cruel thing. It makes you open doors that should stay shut. The window beside the sink fogged over. From outside, something was breathing against the glass. I crept closer, couldn't stop myself. And when I looked, it was my face staring back at me. But wrong. The skin gray and water swollen. The eyes black and empty, like something had scooped out what made me human. The reflection smiled, a long, splitting grin that cracked the skin around its mouth. Then it whispered in my own voice, "Come home." The window shattered inward. Shards of glass flew, slicing the air. The counter, my arm, I fell back, screaming. Grandma threw herself between me and that thing. She pressed the cross to its face, and a sound came out of it that I'll never forget. A howl like drowning. Steam rose where the metal touched it. The smell was awful, like rotten iron. It thrashed, knocking her to the floor. I grabbed the fire poker from the hearth and swung with everything I had. The sound it made, thick, wet, final, echoed through the kitchen. It staggered back toward the door, and before I could blink, it was dragging itself outside, pulling its ruined body toward the well. Lightning flashed, white, blinding, and I saw them then. Dozens of hands reaching from the hole, grasping, pulling the thing back down. The earth swallowed it like a hungry mouth. Then, silence again. Real this time. Grandma was slumped against the cabinets, bleeding from her temple, her breathing shallow. She looked up at me, eyes glassy but sure. "You finished what he started?" she whispered. "Don't ever let it open again." And as the first light of morning crept across the floorboards, I realized the truth. The thing hadn't escaped. It had just traded places, and somewhere deep inside that well, something else now had my face. I told myself I was imagining it. Grief does that. It bends what's real, makes shadows out of memories. But when I went outside, the grass around the well was damp, fresh, the air colder than the rest of the yard. I knelt beside it, feeling the pull of that blackness again, like the air itself was reaching up for me. My reflection wavered in the dark, not in water, but something thicker. For a heartbeat, I thought I saw movement, a shape just beneath the surface. My hand twitched forward before I caught myself. Then a voice, soft, familiar, Eli. Grandma's voice. I stumbled back so fast I nearly fell. My pulse thundered in my ears. There was no one else around. Mom was packing boxes, the neighbors long gone, but the voice had been clear as day, rising up from the deep. When I went back inside, Mom asked if I was all right, said I looked pale. I told her it was the heat. But later, when she found me staring out the window again, she said something that froze me in place. "Funny thing," she said, absently folding one of Grandma's aprons. "When I was little, Grandma used to tell me stories about that old well. Said she heard voices in it too. Said your grandpa went missing because of it." I asked her what she meant. She frowned. "Didn't I tell you? He didn't die in a hospital, Eli. He disappeared. They never found him." That night, I couldn't sleep. The sound of dripping came from somewhere in the house. Slow, rhythmic, like water falling into water. I followed it to the kitchen sink, dry. To the bathroom, nothing. Then I realized it was coming from beneath the floorboards. A cold draft brushed against my ankle. I knelt, pressed my ear to the old wood, and listened. Drip, drip, drip. And under that, breathing. I left before sunrise. Didn't tell Mom why. Didn't say goodbye to the house. But when I started the car, the rearview mirror caught something in the window. My reflection. Only it wasn't moving with me. It just smiled. And behind it, through the dusty glass, I could swear I saw the well open again. At first, I laughed. A nervous, hollow sound that didn't feel like it came from me. But then I noticed something in the corner of the photograph. Barely visible unless you tilted it toward the light. A shadow, long, human-shaped, standing beside the well. My heart kicked against my ribs because the shadow wasn't Grandma's and it wasn't mine. I flipped the photo over again, tracing that crooked handwriting with my thumb. The ink had bled as if the words had been written in water or something worse. That night, the dreams came harder. I was standing by the well again, only this time the boards were gone and I could see something glimmering at the bottom. My own reflection staring up at me, smiling. It whispered, "You came back." When I woke, there was dirt under my fingernails, wet dirt, and my window wide open. I don't know if the well ever truly closes. Maybe some doors can't. Maybe once you've looked into that kind of darkness, it marks you, puts its scent on you like a bloodhound's trail. I moved states, changed my number, burned the photograph. But even now when it rains, I hear the drip, drip, drip in the pipes and the walls in my chest. Sometimes I dream that I'm back at Grandma's again, that I can hear her humming in the kitchen, the smell of cinnamon thick in the air. I walk toward her, but when she turns, it's me. And behind her, through the window, the well is waiting. Always waiting. Maybe that's the worst part. Knowing that what's buried never stays buried. It just waits for someone foolish enough to start digging. So if you ever find an old boarded up well in someone's backyard, don't look inside. Because if you do, it might just look back. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video. It really helps the channel grow and keeps these stories reaching more listeners. Subscribe for daily chills and haunting tales just like this one, and share this video with someone who loves a good scare. Thanks for listening and for watching. There's another story waiting for you right there on your screen. Click it if you dare. I'll see you back here tomorrow.